Hey everybody, I'm Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com, and this is our next Saturday with Stacy YouTube class number 459. Welcome! For all of you who are joining us for the first time, we are so glad to have you as part of our channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. There's a little heart with an SMS in it over here. Just click the cursor over it and subscribe to our channel. We would so greatly appreciate it. Now, if you're joining us during the premiere of this class, which is every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. sunny California time, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, or 4 p.m. in the United Kingdom, we are live chatting, and you will see a live chat going on over here on this side of the screen. By all means, just say hello, type in hello, and we'll say hello right back to you. We're just excited that you're part of the community and decided to join us today. What do I have for you today? Oh, wait. What do I have for you today? I have a couple things. I have a new way of looking at pigment-based inks. You know, there's lots of inks on the market and they all do their own thing. There's alcohol ink, there's dye-based ink, there's chalk-based inks, there's pigment-based inks, and they all have their purpose and their reason. Today we're going to be playing with metallic pigment-based inks, but we're also going to be playing with the newest collection from Simply Defined. So I have a stamp and die release for you this month, and Simply Defined dies and stamps are only found here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. They're our brand and our release, and this is the place you're going to find them. I'm hoping that the techniques I have for you today will encourage you to maybe play or try. And most importantly, you may have pigment-based inks already in your crafty stash, in your arsenal at home. So an opportunity to pull them out and say, oh yeah, I do have those, and look at what I can do with them. This is a full-length technique-based commercial-free class going step by step by step. And we don't actually make anything, but we do a lot of techniques. I have beautiful samples for you at the end. I do. The SMS girls always make the most beautiful samples, absolutely. We're going to start off pretty easy today. We're going to start off simple, and we're going to get progressively more and more technique-y. That way, those of you who have not seen this before or are new to crafting can feel like you can do this too, because you can do this too. I promise you. I've got product from Aladdin. I've got product from Izink. I've got my new Simply Defined stamp and die release. And the nice thing about the die release, the stamp and die release, is that not only do we sell the stamp and die as a bundle, but if you're not a die cutter, we sell the stamp individually as well. So if you just love the stamp and you're not a die cutter, you can get the stamp, and I think we do it for like $8.99, and it's a full A2 size. So I'm going to read Winner Winner Chicken Dinner, and we're going to get started for today. I've got two winners from last week, and they posted a comment below. If you're live chatting, that doesn't count. It's got to be below. And then SMS guy James, he approves it. Just has to be kind. Your comment can be anything you want to say as long as it's kind. Tell us about your fur babies, tell us about your spouse, tell us about your work, tell us about the fabulous dinner you cooked, whatever, the day at the beach, as long as it's kind. And then SMS guy James will approve it, and then you go into the running to win a $25 gift card here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, and we do two every single week. So I've got my winners right here, and the funny thing is, I think one of these winners, because James sent over the email after he approved them, and then we have software select the winners. And when he went back to look at who the winners were, he's like, this person, I think, explained, she must have explained how to pronounce her last name, just to be sure I wouldn't, to help me, because I'm dyslexic, and so reading names, pronouncing names is a struggle for me. But she wanted to win, and she wanted to be of help, so she let us know how to sound it out. Bless your pea picking heart. James thought that was super cute. Okay, so who's our winners from last week? Do I have any announcements to make? So we are starting to send out pay later invoices for the warehouse sale. Many of you, the first grouping has received your pay later invoices, and we appreciate you taking care of those just as quickly as possible. We can't process your order until it's been paid. And if you did choose pay later from the warehouse sale, which was back in April, and you haven't paid for your order, please know that we've really shortened up the time frame to get those orders paid for. If we send it to you on a Monday, probably by the following Monday, we're going to be canceling out those orders because we don't want to hold everybody else's orders up. So you've got a little bit shorter window. You've had since April to save for it, and the product is here, so now it's the time to take care of that. We so appreciate those of you who have been Johnny on the spot getting it done. And for the few stragglers, please know if your order does cancel, no, we cannot reinstate it. And yes, it will cancel out subsequent orders, absolutely. So we did the pay laters on good faith, and I bought the merchandise on good faith, and now we're asking you to finish the transaction. And if you don't, that's okay. Just no, we can't, your other orders will cancel out as well. So as long as we are upfront with each other, and again, I don't want to take away the pay laters from people who really need it and use it and take care of it and make sure that we're taken care of when the time has come. I'm not going to pull it from those people just because of a few who haven't paid for their orders. I'm just going to let you know, if you don't pay for your order and it cancels out, we cannot reinstate it, and it will cancel out subsequent orders. So, okay, that was the bad news. Now let's do the good news. We'll do winner chicken dinner. That makes everybody happy, right? Okay, so I have two winners, and like I said, one of them spelled their name out phonetically, just in case they were a winner, so I could pronounce it. That will be our second winner. Our first winner is Randy. Hello, Randy. Randy Capers. Hello, how are you doing, Randy? Wahoo Kachoo, you're a winner chicken dinner, $25 gift card in your online account. Elena didn't check it, so I don't know if it's been entered or not. I'll go downstairs and make sure. Our second winner is Cindy. And Cindy, I think you put in your comment how to pronounce your last name. Now that didn't help you be a winner. We have random software that decides that, but it didn't hurt, right? I believe it's Cindy Grow. Groh. Is that it? Grow? Hello, Cindy. How are you doing today? You two are a winner chicken dinner. Congratulations. Now, both of these lucky peeps have a $25 gift card coming their way. All they did was post a comment down below that was kind. We approved it, and look at what happened. They get to do the winner chicken dinner dance. Are you ready? You're a winner, chicken dinner. You're a winner, chicken dinner. Wahoo, kachoo, for you. Congratulations to both of you. I don't see the check marks, so I will go through and be sure that by the time we are watching this Saturday morning, the $25 is added into your account. All right, now for today, I have product from Izink, I have product from Aladdin, I have Simply Defined, and techniques using pigment-based ink, metallic pigment-based ink. Again, we're going to start pretty darn simple and then get progressively more and more technique-y. So I'm going to tilt on down. We're going to get started for today. It's good to see all of you, and thanks for being here today. We so appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. It means the world to us. All right, there we go. Ready? Okay, down we go. Oh, we also have Tim Holtz Halloween on sale. Bye. Izink Tim Holtz Halloween. Went on sale yesterday. I don't think Tim has done his live YouTube on it yet, but I'm sure that is coming. All right, so this one is from Belinda because you've got the little cat down there. So love that, super pretty. Now, these all have one thing in common. I'm going to show you 3 samples that all have one thing in common. Then I've got from Claire, And last one is from Doris. So, all right, so 3 things in common. What's the one thing in common on all 3 cards? What's the one thing in common? They all have that beautiful leaf background stamp as part of their design. Let me put these back so I know where they go. I'm going to pull out the dies and show you those really, really quick. So this is a stamp and die combination. And hold on just a sec. I want to grab the stamps as well. Since we're here, I'll show you the stamps as well. So it's a stamp and die combination, which means you're going to get the stamped image and you're going to get the die that coordinates. So it's not a die that is of the stamped image, but I did all sentiment dies so that you could layer over the top of the image. So you've got a stamp and you've got a die, and this one says give thanks in all things. You've got a stamp, and actually you've got a stamp sentiment too if you'd like, and then you've got a sentiment. So count your blessings, and you've got a stamp and you've got a sentiment. Now the stamps can be used all on their own and the dies can be used all on their own. This one says fall is proof that change is beautiful. Only the fall is proof that change is, those are separate dies. You could just use the die that says beautiful, or you could just use the stamp set on their own, or you can layer them. Now you could also take the count your blessings and you could make that into a baby card, a Christmas card, anything card. You could use the pumpkins for fall or Halloween. But the nice thing is that you're going to be able to take the dies and you're going to be able to interchange them between the stamp sets. We could take fall is proof that change is beautiful and layer that right over the pumpkins. We could take count your blessings and layer that right over the sunflowers. The more background stamps can go either way. I've got them with vertical dies so that you can make it a vertical set. And this says, give thanks in all things. Will sit right on top. But if I take my stamp and I make it a horizontal, I can then use count your blessings on top of it, or my beautiful stamp. Same with the leaf background. The leaf background is horizontal, but I could easily change it vertical. Really up to you. And if I change it vertical, then I can have give thanks on all for all things on it. I mean, there's options aplenty. And again, if you don't have a die cutting machine and you're just starting out, we sell the stamps separately. So you can just get the stamped images if you'd prefer. Absolutely. So we're going to start with these today. And let me put those over there. I also have product from Izink. Now, it's not new product. It's product that we've had before, but it came in, when I got the sets in, and I was so happy with the dies and the stamps, and they were so fall related that we brought back Eclectic Paper. It's their cardstock, and you get 60 sheets of cardstock. So I believe there's 10 colors. 6 of each color. It retails for $19.99. I believe Izink.com has it on sale right now for $15.99. And you can see why I wanted it, because the colors are so perfectly fall. Not sure why it's called eclectic, but the colors are amazing for fall. So Izink.com has it on sale for $15.99, I believe right now. At least it was when I talked to them, and I said, well, we have to do better than that. So we looked around and we said, well, there's this beautiful embossing powder. It's a sparkly embossing powder. They actually call it mermaid tails, but the color just lends itself so much to this paper. It really just goes so well with all of this paper, and it retails for $5.99. So we said, okay, well, what if we match your price on the paper, $15.99 as opposed to $19.99? Or maybe it's $4.99. Is that what I said, $4.99? And we gave them the embossing folder, or the embossing powder, for $4.99. Yeah, that's it. This is $19.99. This is $4.99 regularly. That means it's $24.98, and we're gonna do the two for $15.99. That way you're getting this at the same price Izink.com has it, but we're throwing in a little extra goodie, a $5 extra goodie that works beautifully with this paper. So I'm gonna be playing with this paper today, and I'm gonna use this embossing powder just a little bit later. But like I said, we're gonna start super simple. And super simple means showing you some of the ink. So today I've got Aladdin's ink, and I've got their slow dry pigment ink. Slow dry pigment ink. Slow dry pigment ink is a typical pigment ink. Anybody who sells pigment ink, it basically is slow drying. And the reason it's slow drying is because it's sitting on top of the paper and not absorbing in. It allows you to throw embossing powder over the top of it and heat. But I didn't want to do that today. I wanted to show you some of the color. That one's real pretty. And that looks good. And maybe a gold. So most of your metallic inks on the market are pigment-based ink. I've not seen a dye-based ink with a metallic look to it. And this is sitting on top of the paper and slowly drying on top of it. That's how you're able to get the metallic look. A dye-based ink, and this is going, if I move it too quickly, it will smear. See, I haven't let it dry. And it will smear because it's a slow drying ink. Unlike a dye-based ink, and your dye-based inks are going to be your Hero, most of your Hero Arts, your Tim Holtz inks, your Memento inks. Your standard ink is a dye-based ink, which sits inside and then dries on the paper really fast. It absorbs into the paper. While this is sitting up on top, this is going inside and drying super fast. And as you can see, there's no smearing because it's already dry, unlike a pigment-based ink. So you would say, well, why do you want to use a pigment-based ink if it's going to need time to dry? Well, because you can get the metallic reflective looks from it, where you can't get that on a dye-based ink. Also, like I said, you can take embossing powder and throw it right over the top of it and heat set. This is very much like a Versamark, where the ink stays wet long enough for you to use embossing powder with. Very handy, absolutely. And if you've got different colored pigment-based inks and you've got a clear embossing powder, you now have all of those inks can be embossed with clear, and that color will come right through the embossing powder. So we're going to be playing with them today, and I'm going to use them in a couple different ways. I think 3 or 4 different ways to give you ideas of how to best use your pigment-based ink. Inks always have there's alcohol ink, there's chalk-based ink, there's dye-based ink, and there's pigment-based ink. So I know many of you already know this, but for those of you who are new, when you're out shopping, there's a really simple way to remember what ink does what. So it's the ABCs of ink, if you will. And if you know your ABCs, then you will be able to remember what ink does what, because the dry time makes all the difference. So if you start with A, first letter in the alphabet, That's alcohol ink. And alcohol ink dries faster than anything else because that alcohol evaporates out of the ink almost instantaneously, and it's dry. So A, first letter in the alphabet, dries super quick. Then we go down B, C. C is a chalk-based ink. Chalk-based ink dries the next fastest. Chalk-based inks are kind of hard to find these days. They're not as easy to find as they used to be, but they dry super fast. And years ago, we would take a chalk-based ink and edge everything. We would edge all of our papers with chalk-based ink because it dried very fast. Not quite as fast as alcohol. Not quite as fast, but almost, because A, B, C. C and A are very close together. Next letter in the alphabet is D. D stands for dye-based ink. Now, chalk-based ink and dye-based ink are right next to each other in the alphabet. That means dye-based ink dries almost as fast as chalk-based ink. It's fast. Not as fast as alcohol, but pretty darn quick. So as we're going through the alphabet, there's alcohol ink, chalk-based ink, dye-based ink, and then we get to pigment-based ink. Now, pigment-based ink starts with a P, and it's all the way down at the end of the alphabet. I mean, we did our A, we did B, C for chalk, D for dye, and then we have to go E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. P, way down at the end. It's not up there near the A's, the B's, the C's, the D's. No, it's almost to the end of the alphabet. That means it's going to take the longest to dry. You're going to need time for it to dry. You're not going to be able to just stamp and then embellish or layer. You want to give it a little bit of time to dry, but it also means that you're going to be able to use embossing powder with it because you've got that length of time that it's drying. So when you're out there shopping in your local craft store, your mom and pop shop, and you're like, I like this ink, but what does it do? Well, what kind of ink is it? Is it an alcohol ink? That means that it's going to be something that dries super fast. Absolutely. Do you need something that dries super fast? Or is it a dye-based ink, which is the most common ink on the market? Dye-based ink doesn't dry as fast as alcohol, but pretty close because A and D are pretty close together. But if you pick something up and you see pigment-based ink, now you know, pigment-based ink, that's way, way down the line. That's going to take some time to dry. Oh, but I love this color. I absolutely love this color, and it's a pigment-based ink, and I have clear embossing powder that I can throw on top of it, and I will be able to see this color through beautiful clear embossing powder. Then that's the ink for you. Can you use a dye-based ink to throw embossing powder on? Nope. It dries too fast. It doesn't stay wet long enough for that embossing powder to get onto. Can I use alcohol ink with embossing powder? Nope. If dye-based ink dried fast, well, alcohol ink dries even faster. So remember your ACDPs of ink. If you know your ABCs, that's going to tell you your inks. It's going to give you the order of their dry time, which really is what separates all the inks from each other, is the order of their dry time, because that's going to determine how you use them best. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to tilt down, and we're going to get started for today. And again, I'm going to keep it pretty darn simple, but then we're going to get more and more technique-y. Let's zoom on in. Zoom on in. And I think I'm going to start. I think I'm going to start with the leaves. So my first set. So this is the die and stamp combo. But if you would prefer, you can just get the stamp. So here's the die and stamp combo. But if you, like I said, if you prefer, you can just get the stamped image. Maybe you are not a die cutter. we get it, no problem. So I'm gonna hold off on the die for right now, and I'm gonna play with the stamp. So I've got a clear stamp here, comes off the liner. The liner is what's indexed, which means the liner is what's got the image on it. So you can see the image there of the leaves. And the minute I pull that liner off, it's the liner that's indexed, which is pretty typical for your clear stamps. This is a full A2 size. So a full A2 size stamp and a full A2 size die. Today I'm going to be working with a stamp positioner. So I'm going to bring over my, I want to say Vason, but I don't know if it's Vason or Vason. I'm going to be bringing over my stamp positioner. And this one is done with magnets right there. I'm going to go back just a little bit. So it's done with magnets. You've got 2 magnets here. They click into place. It presses down to give a good image. And stamp positioners, there's a bunch of them out on the market and everybody has their favorites. You use the one that works best for you. I will tell you that I took washi tape and built up a bunch of washi tape. I just layered washi tape on top of washi tape on top of washi tape until I built a little ridge, because I wanted to be able to use it as a little block or a little jig on my stamp positioner, so that I could put my paper right up and kind of lock it into place. This one comes with 2 magnets. Most of them do. We do sell the extra magnets, and the extra magnets can be used on other people's stamp positioners. The magnets are magnets. And then I would put my top back on, and it's all done magnetically. And then I can push into place. So stamp positioners are nice because it gives you the opportunity to go back, and if you stamp something and you have a little bit of a missed space, you don't have to try and reline up. So I'm going to take my stamp, I'm going to take it off of its liner, and I'm going to decide where it is I want to put it on my paper. So right there looks good to me. I close my positioner up. I press down. And now my stamp has clung to my top piece. That means I can stamp down, open it up. If I have something that I missed, I can either re-ink and come back and stamp again. It lets you fix all your oopsies. And if you're doing something in production work, let's say you're making Christmas cards and you're doing all your stamping at once and then all your coloring at once, this is very handy because you can you build your little jig where you want your paper to go, and you just go. You don't have to reline up every time. You don't have to try and reposition every time. You don't have to try and recenter every time. So I think I'm going to do this just in black real quick so you can see. So I'm inking it up, and I'm using my Hero Arts India ink, which is a dye-based ink. India ink from Hero Arts lets you use your alcohol ink markers without it bleeding. It lets you use watercolors, just about anything without it bleeding and making a mess, smearing everywhere. So I'm going to tilt it on down. Now, a friend sent me this. This I think is, it's her handmade little stamp guys. So usually I would just stamp down and stamp down and stamp down, but these things became really popular. People were making them, and it just glides over. So if you've got problems with your hands stamping down, you can take your little tool here and just all over. And I'm thinking that Polly made this out of stamp blocks, that she pulled her stamps off and she saved these, and she made her own little tool there, which is very clever, and I appreciate it. So I've stamped my image, and I can open it up, and there it is. Now if I wanted to make it darker, all I have to do is add more ink. I don't move my paper. I don't move my stamp off of my top plate. I add more ink. I line it back up and I press down again, or I use my cute little tool. Very clever. And she left a little place for your thumb. Yay. So your call, you can either go up and down and press and get a good image all over, or use something like this. And I mean, I'm all for the handmade. This one's handmade. I understand that people do sell these. It's up to you. Whatever you want to use is best for you. I like my handmade one. So now my image is even darker, but there is no double stamping because it just lines up again and again and again. Positioners have a purpose. They absolutely do. Do you have to have one to stamp? No, you don't. I could have put this on a block and gotten a nice result. Absolutely, we do it all the time. But a positioner does have a purpose. And you buy the positioner that works best for you. So I'm going to pull these off. And I think I'm going to grab another sheet of paper, and this time we're going to play with some of the metallic inks. Make sure I've got enough white paper out here. We're going to play with some of the metallic inks. So I'm going to cut in half. Which is more than I need, but I'm okay with that. And I'm going to grab the Aladdin Metallics. So Aladdin is a company out of France, Lyon, France to be exact. The Izink brand is their brand, so you'll see a lot of Izink Ice or Izink Diamond or Izink Pearly. This is their slow drying pigment ink, and it has a metallic look to it. So not all of the Izink pigment inks have a metal look to it. You can tell if it says metal on the lid. That means it's going to have a metallic finish to it. They have other pigment-based inks that are just straight colors, and I really wanted to play with the metals because they just look beautiful. So I've got 11 colors here, and they're relatively inexpensive. They're $3.20 a color, and then they're 20% off. So it's not a huge investment, and no matter who you buy from, if you buy gold, silver, copper, those are going to be pigment-based inks because your metallics are pigment-based. I've never seen a metallic in a dye-based ink. I just haven't. The metallic has to sit on top of the paper and slowly dry in. That's what keeps that look, that metallic look to it. So I'm going to grab I'm going to keep with the same stamp, and let's just wipe this one down. So I did it with a dye-based ink. I'm just going to take a little baby wipe and wipe some of that black off. Well, it looks like I stamped most of it off. And line it up. Yep, it still's on my paper. It looks really, really good. So I'm going to take and use some of my Izink to ink this up this time as opposed to straight black. And I'm just going to come in here, and they say that they call this yellow. I'm sorry. It's not yellow. It's a great orange, but the name of it is metal yellow. Yeah, no. I'm not sure where the yellow came from. So I'm going to stamp it all up, and I've got my yellow orange going on, and I might want to add a few more colors. Let's see. They call this one metal pink. It's actually more red than it is pink, and I think I'll add think I'll add some of that. And then I think I will add some green. All right, I think I'm okay there. So now I've inked up with metallics, and I've used more than one color because leaves are more than one color. I'm going to bring over my stamp positioner, attach it, and either push, your call, you can either push or have a good friend make you one of these, or a spouse make you one of these, a uncle, a cousin, or just take 2 blocks and glue them together like she did. And then she's got some felt on the bottom here. And it just makes it slide really nice. Okay. And I've got the beginnings of my stamp. So now I've got the beginnings of my leaves, and they're multicolored. I might want to add some more color to it. Up to me. Let's see. Add some more orange maybe. And some more green perhaps. And I can layer this right over the top. Line it up and press or press. And now I've added even more color. So the beautiful thing about a pigment-based ink is that it doesn't absorb all the way in. The colors layer on top of each other. So I could have started, you know what, we'll do it one more time. I could have started with, maybe that's what we'll do. We'll start with just one color so you can see. Let me wipe this down just a little bit. I could have started with just one color and then come back in and layered another color on top, and then come back in and layered another color on top, and the colors will stay separate. Unlike a dye-based ink, if I start with one color on the bottom and layer another color on top, that color on top is gonna hide. If it's a lighter color on the bottom and you put a darker color on top, you're going to take away that lighter color on the bottom. It's gonna completely absorb into. So these are kind of nice because you're able to keep colors separate. A pigment-based ink allows you to do that, as opposed to the colors just absorbing into each other. So I'm gonna line up another piece, and I think I will start with just orange. Feels dry. I'm going to start with just orange, and all I'm going to do is ink this entire thing up with orange. Press down. Oh, I can see I missed a spot, but that's okay. So all I've got is orange. Now, what if I were to ink it with green? I think that looks pretty good. and I line it on top. And now I press my green. The green stays separate from the orange, where with a dye-based ink, it would absorb into and take that a little bit of that orange color away. What if I come back with more orange? And this time I add some red. So with a dye-based ink, by adding all of these colors again and again and again, you would eventually end up with brown or black. You'd end up with mud. But because this is a pigment-based ink, it sits on top as opposed to absorbing in. And now I've got some reds and some greens and some oranges going on. And you can see the difference of color. So pretty. If I want to add more red, let's add more red. And you can just layer that color until you're happy. So if you don't like the way it turns out immediately, you think the colors are meh, go add more colors on top and come back in. You would not be able to do this with a dye-based ink. It just wouldn't happen. And then I've got a metallic sheen to it. I don't know, am I done? What if I wanted to add a little bit of gold to all of this? Take my gold and come over and do the whole thing. So I'm just layering color on top of color on top of color on top of color, and I haven't made mud. Press or use your little tool. And now I've got some gold going on over the top of it. It's super easy to do. It gives you a ton of options. Ton of options. So I did this one to start with. Oh no, it's over there. Well, yeah, no, this one. To start with, we've got here. You can just go and go and go and not make mud. Let me So let's do one more and then we'll die cut. So now I've got gold on there. I still have some gold. Let's put some green on here. And I haven't cleaned my stamp yet. Haven't cleaned my stamp at all. And let's go back with some gold. Now, as for my block, or my stamp pads, my colors have absolutely contaminated. I've got a few little bit of gold on there and a little bit of green. All I have to do is wipe until it's done. It doesn't matter that my foam is stained. I don't care about that. All I care about is that the color runs true. If the color runs true, I'm good to go. That is not yellow. I'm so sorry, but that's not yellow. Now, what was I doing? Green? Gold? Something like that? Okay, well, we're just gonna go. And stamp down your choice. And now I've just got green and gold. Even though I had all those other colors layered on top, all I transferred was the green and the gold. Want to add a bit of red in? Okay. Oh, maybe purple. I haven't tried purple. And I'm just gonna layer over the top. Really, really hard to make mud because of the type of ink it is. Or your stamp positioner. Your little tool here for your stamp positioner. Now I've added in a little bit of purple. I got a little bit of gold going, a little bit of red, a little bit of everything. So easy to do, and then just clean your stamp. Baby wipe. And we are done. Using metallics is super simple and gives you a super beautiful look. But they do need to dry for a few minutes without question. Okay, I'm gonna pull this one off and set this one off to the side, and we're gonna move on. So now what to do with this? I might keep that one. Oh, and I might keep that one. Look at how bright this one is. That's the first one I did. Look at how bright it is. I don't know what, well, okay, well, we'll keep both of those. So now what to do with it? I have my die. Because it comes with the set, if you buy the die and stamp set. And the die is also a full A2 size, which means it's going to layer right on top of that stamped image perfectly. Layer on it perfectly. Trim this down just a little bit. So what colors do I want to use to stamp that or to die cut that out? That's where that Izink paper comes in handy, because that paper is just perfect for fall. It's called Eclectic, but I don't know. It's pretty amazing for fall. I mean, the colors are pretty beautiful, and you get 10 sheets of every color. No, 6 sheets. 6 sheets, there's 10 colors, 6 sheets of every color. That's what you get. 6 sheets of each color. Pretty, really pretty. I really love this one. So I'm going to die cut this out. And I'm going to use my Izink Big Shot machine. Now this isn't an overly intricate die, but it still has some curly cues going with it. So I am going to use a precision base plate with it. Let me bring over my machine. So I've got my Izink Big Shot machine. This is the manual machine. It's got the little crank handle over here. right there. It comes with a platform. It comes with a platform. It comes with a solo shim. The solo shim is what you need to cut wafer style dies out. This is a wafer style die because it is, well, wafer thin, chemically etched die, wafer die. They call, I think Izink calls theirs a thinlet. They're all about the same. And with the Izink machine, the base platform will tell you what you can use if you're just using the base platform. They have instructions right there. On the solo shim, it says, okay, these are wafer dies, these are thin dies. You need to put this right on top. And then for the most detailed of dies, you're gonna need something called a precision base plate. So if the die is very, very intricate, a precision base plate's gonna let you cut out all those little curly cues and those nooks and crannies of a highly intricate die without causing yourself frustration. If you have an intricate die and you're sending it back and forth and you're rotating it and sending it back and forth and it's still not cutting and you're having to really struggle to get the little fallouts or you're having to cut some of them out, you probably need a precision base plate. That die is probably too intricate, but the minute you add that precision base plate, it changes everything. I remember when it first came out, it was such a game changer. So I put my base plate down, I put my solo shim down, I put my precision base plate down. I don't want to be able to read the directions. If you're about ready to send it on through and you can read the directions, I need you to stop. I need you to turn it back over so you can see the metal. I need you to put your paper, your die with the ridges. Those ridges, that's what's going to cut the paper. Those little ridges, I know it doesn't seem possible that little ridges, there's no blade at all. Those little ridges are going to cut the paper when it's sent through and it hits the roller. The last thing you need to put on is a top plate. And you get 2 clear plates with your machine. Eventually they're not going to be clear anymore. And you're going to send it through. Now this die isn't crazy intricate, but it's intricate enough that using a precision base plate is helpful. I'm going to rotate the die just like that. It was like that. I'm going to rotate it just like that, because every machine, regardless of what manufacturer makes it, every machine's got a sweet spot in the roller. There's a roller under here and you can feel the roller. Every machine is going to have a sweet spot. Maybe your sweet spot is over here where the roller has a little bit more pressure and cuts a little bit better. Maybe yours is in the center. By just rotating your die slightly and sending it back through, the die is going to hit the roller in a new and unique way, helping it cut better. If you're sending a die back and forth and you're not rotating it, so I left it like this and I'm going back and forth and it's still not cutting, well, it's because you're hitting the roller the exact same way. When you sent it through, you hit it the same way. When you sent it back, you hit it the same way. To change it up, you have to rotate the die a little bit. And now it's going to hit that roller differently, and whatever didn't cut on the first pass generally cuts on the second. Let's see what we got. And I double cut. I rotated too much. I played with it too much. So I double cut this one. And all my little words. Oh, wait, no. Wait, let me get my curly Q out. Let me get my curly Q out. Wait. And let me get my curly. I didn't double cut. Well, happy day for me. My curly Qs are not happy with me right now. that's okay. We'll just put them back into place. Oh, yay, I didn't double cut. Look at that. Look at all the pieces fall right out. Isn't that happy day? I thought I rotated it one too many times and it shifted, but no, it did not. Let's get my tweezers and pop out. Oh, hello. Pop out and see what I've got. Get all the little bits and pieces. And bring over my there we go. Look at there. Yay. Boy, that little curly Q needs to get glued in place. And now I've got grateful, thankful, and blessed all on top of my stamp. And it fits perfectly because they are both A2 size. They're meant to go on top of each other. I'm going to cut that one more time out of a different color. And this time I'm going to just do it and rotate it and bring it back. What other color do we like? You think that bright blue is going to be too, I don't know, let's just try it. What's the worst that can happen, right? We don't like it? Big whoop. We'll use it for another time. And then we're going to move on. And this time I'm going to peel that little sticky dot off the top. Little sticky dot on my die from where it was taped down to the paper. Come on. There we go. Okay, I'm going to roll it through one more time and we're going to see it with a different color. So you could use just the die on its own. Don't have to use the stamp at all. The die is a sentiment. Perfect for a card ready to go. I'm going to rotate it this way a little bit. I'm going to send it on through. Rotate it this way a little bit. Send it on through. Little creaks and cracks are fine. Don't be worried about those. Pull it out. All my little pieces. Ha ha. Now I kept my curly Q's in place. All my little fallouts. And before you know it, you've got grateful, thankful, blessed. I think I like that color on it actually. I mean, that eclectic paper just looks so good with the fall. I love, love, love it. How easy was that? Easy peasy, mac and cheesy, right? This one just has the gold. A little bit of gold going on. Easy peasy, mac and cheesy. Same but different. Or I could grab and just make a card like that. Just trim that right on out. So now I've got that one. And maybe I back it in. Maybe I back it here. Or maybe I back it here. Or maybe I back it no, definitely not the green. I can tell you that right now. No on the green. Maybe I back it there. The point is you have options. Do you want to put it with the stamp? Do you want to do the stamp all by itself? Then I can do that. Oodles and oodles and oodles of options. Or I could just do the stamp all by itself and put a sentiment on it somewhere else. You choose what you want to do. You've got the tools. But we need to move on. So I'm going to save these. And I'm going to put them... Oh, let's get my curly Q out of there. Come on. Oh, now I made them even a bit. Okay, I'm just going to put them over here for now. We'll figure it out later. So then I'm going to move on to darker paper. And maybe I'll just use this sheet because it's here. Decisions. All right, so the pigment-based ink with darker paper. Let's grab another set. Let's do this one. So this one's got give thanks in all things, and it's got a background stamp. So the pigment ink is wonderful for darker paper because darker paper can be hard to stamp on. If you use a light color dye-based ink on darker paper, the paper is going to absorb that ink and absorb that color. It's going to disappear. If I were to take a yellow ink and try to stamp on a burgundy paper, that burgundy is going to absorb that yellow and you're never going to see it. You'd have to stamp on darker paper with something that's darker. So I would have to stamp with maybe a super dark brown or a super dark black because another color is going to get absorbed in by the color of the paper. It's not that the paper is that it's paper that's the problem, it's the color. So the light that would bounce off that color is going to get absorbed in by the darker. You're never going to see a yellow or a pink or a red on this paper because the burgundy is too dark. It will just take that color and pretty much make it disappear. Except for with pigment ink. Pigment ink, again, sits on top. So it's not being absorbed in by the paper and hiding that color. It's sitting on top and drying. And that will allow the color to stay up and visible. Let's see. Put that one over there. So let's pull this one off and maybe get my stamp positioner back out. And let's stamp this one up. So I'm going to do it. Can I get two of them out of here? No, I can only get one. I'm going to do it on this paper both in black and in a metallic, so you can see the difference. You will be able to see black on the burgundy because black on the spectrum is further down the spectrum than burgundy. So that black is not going to be absorbed into the burgundy color. You'll still be able to see it. But yellow is way earlier on the spectrum than a burgundy, and that yellow would be absorbed by the color of the paper. So let's just get it down and let's just try and see if I can line it on up. Got my merry little jig that I made right there, so it just kind of butts right up against it. I don't know that I need that one. And let's see if my stamp is where I want it. That looks good. Press it down, it's going to adhere. So I'm going to do this one in just black, and then I'll do it again in the same burgundy, only I'll use a metallic ink so you can see the difference. So this is a dye-based ink, and because the color of the ink is darker than the color of the paper, you'll be able to see this. Okay, I think that's pretty good. A little bit more, maybe right there. There we go. Okay, so you're able to see the image. Let's do it in a same color paper. Let me grab another sheet of that paper. Same color paper, but let's do it in a pigment. So apples to apples. Wipe down my stamp. Get a little of the black off of it. And then let's say we do gold. So I've got my pigment based. And I'm going to ink the whole thing up in gold. And try not to miss a spot. But if I do, I'll just come back. Line it on up. Give a press down. Use your little stamping tool. Oops. And let's see what we've got. So now I can see where the gold is starting to come through. I might want to do one more layer because it's a little light. So let's bring my color back over, stamp back again. Good press. And better. So now you can see the metallic coming through. Pretty. Let's do it one more time. Let's try the back side. So the front side has got a little bit of a texture to it. Back side is completely smooth. Let's Let's try it on the back side and see what we get. Gold. Press. And done. And now you've got this beautiful, soft, subtle gold motif on the back. You choose the side you like. One's a little smoother than the other, but they both will work. Let's see if I can get it to stamp again. Now I took my paper off, so hopefully I've lined it right back up where it was, which is why I like having the little jig. We'll see if I double stamp. Ooh, I didn't. Yay! Pretty. Love that. Yay. Okay, oh happy day. But now what are we going to do with this? So now we've stamped on dark paper with a metallic ink. Easy to do. I did both sides. This one's got a little more texture in it. So you can see a little more bumpies where it is. This side's a little more smooth, so the ink goes down a little smoother. But now what do we want to do? Well, let's wipe our stamp off and let's grab the die. All right, so the die that goes with this one says, give thanks in all things. Now again, it's just like the thankful. Where my curly cues have pulled into each other. Okay, it's just like the thankful. I could even put the thankful right on top of that one. I have a lighter thankful. Yeah. The SMS girls are going, bwahaha. Now you get to deal with the curly cues. I just like the way they look. Come on. Let's unchain you. Come up, there we go. I even have a lighter one. Grateful, thankful, blessed. That's not the one that comes with it. What comes with it is give thanks in all things. But you can take the other sentiments, the other dies from the other sets, and mix and match without any problem. So let's take this one and let's cut. Now, what color do we want to cut in? How about that lighter color? How about this? And bring my machine on over And let's die cut this out super fast. Easy peasy. Okay, send it on through. So I've got my base platform, my Solo Shim for my wafer dies, my precision base plate, my paper, my die, and then a cut plate. And then I'm gonna do just a super quick rotate. I mean, you could do a whole rotate, you could do, I mean, you have options. I just do a super quick rotate just so it hits the roller in a new way. And let's see what we get. Come on, pop out. Get rid of all the background. This one, there we go. That big piece is gone now. And one more little curly Q down here. And a few little of the words. So precision base plate's what makes everything just kind of fall right on out. Let me get rid of all of this. And pop out the rest of the little pieces. Easy peasy. All the little fallouts. And my dies do tend to have a lot of little pieces. The more you're able to have fall out, the more intricate the die is and the more detail it has. All right, I think that's good enough, yeah? Okay, so let's see. All right, little curly Q, there we go. So now I have give thanks in all things. But like I said, I could have done grateful, thankful, blessed. Entirely up to me what I choose to do. What if we want to use some embossing powder? What if we want to take and emboss one of these? Come on out. What if I take that dark one? Okay, let's take that dark one. Wow. All right, let's take this one. I can't put this one on here because you're not going to see it, right? That isn't going to work, but maybe you are really limited on paper. Really limited on paper. Ooh-wee. And I want to emboss it. That way, I can change the look of the paper. All right, I'm going to move that over there. I'm going to put that over here. I'm going to get my curly Qs there. Get my curly Qs there. Okay, so I've got this dark paper. I can't put it here because it's too dark. It just doesn't show. But I do have pigment-based ink. And it doesn't matter what color I use. I think so you can see it better. Maybe I'll use silver. And let's just grab a scratch sheet of paper. Let's take this one. So remember, pigment-based ink takes the longest to dry. So if I put my silver, first off, you can see how it's sitting on top. Now it's pretty clear how the color sits on top because it's changing my burgundy paper into a silver paper. It's not absorbing in, it's sitting on top. So let's just get some of this all over. And it doesn't have to be, 100% coverage all the way through so you don't see any of the burgundy. You just need to have some of the silver over everything. Why? Because I'm going to throw embossing powder on top of it. I'm going to change the entire look of it. Okay, good enough. Get that A little piece out. There we go. So now I have that. I could just leave that like that. Let this dry, and I've changed my dark burgundy paper that you can't see into silver that you can. Remember, it's burgundy back here. But I want to throw some embossing powder down on top of it. So, Izink, in an effort to help us give you a really great deal, I think I'm going to use a whole sheet. Izink not only let us match the price of their paper online, but they gave me an embossing powder that we get to use as a free gift. So the paper that I've been using, the Eclectic, retails for $19.99, and we have it for $15.99. And the Mermaid embossing powder retails for $4.99, and we're including it as part of the bundle. So it's a $24.98 bundle for $15.99. And because this is pigment, it's wet. So I'm going to take my embossing powder and I'm just going to dump. And because that silver is still wet, the embossing powder is sticking to it. So it's almost like having a Versamark. Okay, I think I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to put this all back in. So if you don't have Versamark, but you have pigment-based ink, you can use embossing powder. Okay, let's give that a whirl and see what we get. I'm going to put this all back in, right back into my jar. You use very little embossing powder. My jar is almost completely full again. I'm going to grab a heat tool. And I'm going to see what we get when we heat this. My little curly Q. So as I heat, I can see the embossing powder sparkling. You can see it change color. And I'm not moving my heat tool all over. I'm keeping it in one area until I can see the embossing powder turn. And then I'm moving on. So the thing about embossing powder is that it looks amazing when it's done. But if you don't heat all the way through, it will wipe right off. So you have to make sure, because it's just a powder, we're taking ground plastic is what this is, and we're heating it hot enough to melt it. But if you don't get it hot enough to melt, I'm now back to my silver. But remember, I started with a burgundy, and I'm now back to my silver. Right? That's a boo-hoo. So let's take, how about count your blessings? Now, can I go back and fix this? Yes. Well, maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should just go back and fix it. Bring my paper over, bring my ink over, re-ink it. I can just do the whole thing if it makes it easier for me. Okay. So now I've re-inked silver again. And let's re-put on my embossing powder. I do want to make sure that I've got enough silver on that corner right up here. Oh, well, it was already Stacy. All right, so we'll just fix our mistake because it's easy to do. You don't throw it away. You just go back and add some more of your Versamark or your pigment-based ink. I've got really good coverage again. Now you don't see any silver. Yay. I see a little silver right there. Put on my fine little, come on, there we go. And now I'm going to put this all back in my jar. And let's heat. And as I see it turning, and you'll see it kind of sparkle and wink at you. And that powder is melting and becoming a solid. And I'm moving along as I see it turn. Okay, looks pretty good to me. Oh yeah. And how long does it take to cool? The minute it's cooled down in your hands. Done. Now look at that. Look at how easy that is. Remember, I started with burgundy paper because I was short on paper. I only had so many colors. Or I have yucky paper that I don't want to use. Well, then hide it. Nobody has to know what's underneath. And I changed it by embossing it. It really is just that simple. It's all about the options and the different things that you can do. And with these die sets, if you have 2, you have an opportunity to mix and match. If you've got 3, you've got even more opportunity to mix and match. You have all 4, well, then you've got ample. It's up to you what you want it to look like. So, vertically, give thanks in all things, or horizontally, grateful, thankful, blessed. You choose. Okay, we should move on. But maybe I do this one in the blue too, just because I can. So this one, maybe I'll take and I'll do it in gold, just because I can. And I'm going to do it super fast, except for my curly Q is curlied around. So I just want to get gold on all of it because it's a pigment-based ink, which means it's going to stay wet long enough for me to add my embossing powder. Now, if I put clear embossing powder over the top of this, it would keep the gold. You'd see the gold coming through the clear, but you wouldn't see that peachy color at all. Maybe you don't have gold embossing powder, but you have a gold pigment pad. Use that clear embossing powder. Now this is pretty just all on its own. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty in the gold. You know what? Maybe just on a piece of paper. Oh yeah, look at how pretty is that just on its own. Give thanks in all things. That's just beautiful just like that. Nobody has to know that it's pink or peachy underneath. Now it just looks like a beautiful piece of gold paper. Should I do it or not? No. Okay, I won't. My heart says yes, but okay, so I'm gonna leave that one gold. And maybe I do count your blessings. Let's grab the gold too. I want to emboss one more time, but that one looks so good in the gold, I just can't bring myself to do it. We haven't even cut count your blessings yet. This is an extra one from sample making. So this is a dark green, and I'm just adding. So now this is $3.20 less 20%. So it's a nice combo. It lets you do embossing, but it also gives you a metallic ink. So if you don't have a Versamark and you are absolutely budget minded, any of these inks are a twofer, because I could have used the silver, I could have used the orange, which they call yellow, I could have used the green. It doesn't matter the color as long as it is opaque embossing powder. Okay. Ooh, that'll make something fabulous later. Okay, one more time, just because we can, right? Just because. Drizzle, 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 drizzle. I'm a dumper. It's just as easy to put it all back in. This way I'm sure I get coverage everywhere. These are kind of fine lines. Why am I not doing a big piece of embossing powder and then just doing a sheet of embossing powder on and then coming back and die cutting afterwards? That uses quite a bit of embossing powder. I mean, you are welcome to go ahead and just ink up a whole sheet of paper and then emboss it and then die cut. That's a lot of embossing powder. All right, I think I'm going to put this off to the side. I'm missing some right there. Curly cues. Come on, curly crows. All right, well, let's just go for it. Worst case scenario, I have to ink a little bit more and put a little bit more on. Not the worst case scenario. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna put all this back. So embossing powders give you the opportunity to take paper that you wouldn't normally use, that maybe you got in a kit, or you needed just a little snippet of it, or it's circa 1982 paper and you can't bring yourself to get rid of it. Embossing powder gives you the opportunity to change it into something new, to repurpose it. Not to, oh, look, I missed that whole big space right there. How could I have done that? Did I put my finger in it? Okay. Now that's going to cling to all of it. Yeah, it's going to cling because it's still wet. All right. Let's heat. And as it turns, I move it. I'm just going in a nice little methodical pattern. That way I know where I've been and I know where I'm going. And we're changing a plastic into a solid. And I'm just watching the powder melt. All right. The minute it's cool to the touch, it's dry. Gives it some nice structure, that's for sure. Pop out a few of my little pop outs that I didn't do before. I need to go back and hit a few more places. But all in all, I think it's okay. Come on, little curly cues. Shoop. And shoop. Okay, so now I have Grateful, Thankful. I have Count Your Blessings. I have Give Thanks in All Things. I could just do it on regular paper, although I think that would look better over here, but I think this one would look cute here. Count Your Blessings. Grateful, Thankful. Give Thanks in All Things. You have oodles and oodles and oodles of options, but it's time to move on. We got to do something else. It's just, they're so fun. Okay, so we have stamped, and when we stamped, we used multiple colors to give us something like this. Then we stamped on dark paper, so we saw how a pigment-based ink can be used on a dark paper because it sits on top. But now I want to color with pigment. And I wanna show you a couple easy ways to get it done. We're gonna start, oh my goodness, these are just all intertwined into each other, Stacy. Yikes. Okay, but we'll figure it out, right? So I am going to take this set. And this is the pumpkin set. And this one has Count Your Blessings, which is one I literally just embossed. So let's open it up and let's play with the stamp for a minute. So I will get to the die. Man, if I thought my glue dots were strong, our manufacturer uses way strong glue dots to put everything down. Okay, so you've got a couple stamps in here. You've got the pumpkins, you've got Welcome Fall, and you've got a smaller little pumpkin. So you've got the Welcome Fall sentiment, a smaller little pumpkin, and then your set. I am going to use white paper on this one. And I am going to stamp with black ink. So I'm going to bring over my positioner. Let's change out the stamp. Let's put my paper down. Line it up against my little jig. Put my little magnets down. Line my stamp up where I want it. That looks good. Close it up. press down. That will have my now clear stamp is clung. It clings right to my top plate, so it stays in place. Yep, that's good. And I'm going to ink it up in my India ink black. Oh, let's not move that. Keep that where it needs to be. India ink black. So now I'm back to a dye-based ink, not a pigment-based ink, a dye-based ink. So when this goes on my paper and it hits my paper, it's going to dry super fast. But this ink does not smear when used with watercolors or alcohol ink. And let's give a good press. Open it up, see what I got. Oh, that looks perfect. My gosh, it couldn't get any better than that, can it? I didn't think so either. So I'm going to put this out of the way for right now, and I think I'm just going to leave it on here and play with it while it's on there. Now this time, as opposed to stamping with my metallic inks, all my little words are all over there in a hot mess. I'm not going to stamp with these. I'm going to color with these. You know, like color with them. Yes, and I'm going to do it in a way that is easy, easy, easy. So even if you are not the most comfortable with coloring, you can do this. Okay, you ready? So I'm going to grab my little daubers, little finger daubers. Easy peasy. We sell them in packs of, I think it's packs of 20 for $9.99, or you can buy the little kit. You get 40 daubers and a little case for them, and I want to say it's $23 or $24. I think we have the best price on these anywhere. So little finger daubers, unless somebody else puts them on sale. But for the everyday price, I think ours is the lowest anywhere. And I'm going to take what they call yellow. Now, so you can see my pad is kind of dirty. Am I worried about that? If I am, I just grab that piece of paper. Nope, it's clear. It's coming clear. So I don't have to worry. Oh boy, I just got my hands wet. Even though my pad is stained a color, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go. The color is true. A little bit in. Should I do my green first? I'm going to do my green first. Let's grab my green. And I'm literally just going to smudge. That's all I'm going to do, is smudge my ink. Smudge, smudge, smudge. Anywhere I see a leaf or a vine, I'm going to smudge a little green ink. Smudge, smudge, smudge. Smudge, smudge, smudge. Okay, that looks pretty good. It's literally just smudged in. Now maybe I'll take a little bit of my blue. Maybe I'll put a little blue around. So I'm not using blending brushes with this. I'm not using our Aussie Andrew blending brush because this is a pigment-based ink. And those brushes will get sticky and the bristles will hold together. So I am using finger daubers. And maybe a little more green on the bottom. Smudge, smudge, smudge. Smudge, 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 smudge. Smudge, smudge, smudge. So there we are. Now I have my pumpkins to do. Now I'm going to grab my orange, which they call yellow. It's not yellow. And I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to smudge my orange. I mean, this is easy peasy coloring. If you can smudge, you can do this. And the darker I make it on the bottom, gives it a little bit of contour and a little bit of shape. And I am just smudging. How easy was that to color, right? I mean, bam. I could come back in if I wanted with maybe a little of the coppery bronze color and maybe add a little more contour on the bottom. Maybe a little bit more of the yellow orange. I don't know, what do you think? All I'm doing is smudging. Talk about easy peasy coloring, right? It's done. I don't need to do any more. I think it's good. Oh. Can I grab this one? Come on. I can put beautiful down. Not enough contrast. Am I grateful, thankful? Still not enough contrast? My count your blessings. I don't know what makes your heart happy. They all look good. Here's my count your blessings in my embossing powder. I don't think that, I think you need more contrast than that. What about a green? Oh, that says give thanks in all things and it goes the wrong way. No green. Thankful? I don't know. I don't know which one I like. Suppose I could just do it in black too. Oh, but I do think I like the burgundy. Or I just leave it And I have the stamp that says, welcome fall. Talk about easy peasy coloring, right? That was crazy easy. And then you're done. So fast. What if I went back? What if I went back to my leaf? Let's take this one. Let's put my leaf there. Let's get a piece of white paper and tape it on down. Love my little smudgy coloring. What if I ink my leaf up in my black? Line it up, give a press down. Grab my little tool if I want. Oh, I missed that whole section right there. Any place else I missed? Right there. All right, good. And I'm just gonna leave it right on there. And I'm gonna smudge. So I've got my leaves going on. And then I'm just gonna smudge. We'll do a little green here. I don't care if I go outside of the lines on the border because I can cut those right off. Super fast, super quick coloring. Throwing a little orange in there. Maybe some orange on this one. And I'm just gonna smudge it in. If I'm slightly outside the lines, it's fine. And maybe, ooh, maybe some red. Maybe get some of that. Maybe coloring's not your thing, but you can totally see yourself smudging. It's that fast and that easy. So, you know, oxide inks would work well for smudging. Some of the dye-based inks will work really great for smudging. The pigment inks work really great for smudging. And it's just a simple, easy way to get coloring. And then in the center, if you want, you can go in with your blue because you do have background in there, empty background. If you do want to go in, you just go right in with the blue and kind of fill it in. Anywhere you got a little background showing. And that's why it doesn't matter if you're 100%, you know, I'm not trying to be perfect here. I'm trying to be pretty. And I'm trying to get it done. Oh my God, my blue one? I'm just trying to go in and make something lovely. Knowing that perhaps coloring is not my forte. And all I'm going to do is keep smudging away because by the time you're done and you layer your top piece on it, so this one can go both ways because it's a background. Come on. There we go. This one can be done. You do have multiple ways of layering on it. Where's that green one that I couldn't do earlier? I can do it now. So you can go vertical or you can go horizontal and just make it simple. Easy peasy. You choose. Smudging. You got this. Okay, we're going to do one more. And I'm going to use the last set. And we're going to color again with our pigment-based inks. So I'm going to grab the last set. That's the one that Beautiful goes to. This is the Sunflowers. I'm going to grab my stamp positioner, grab my stamp, I'll pull the die, and this die has words that say fall is proof that change is beautiful, but the fall is proof are separate. So you could just use the Beautiful die and then a little flower with a little stem because I had extra room. All right, let's see what we got. So my big sunflowers. Grab a piece of white paper. Go back just a little bit so you can see. Line it up with my jig. Magnets down. Put my stamp where I want it. Close up my positioner. Press down so my stamp will hold to the top plate. Open it up. Ooh, move my jig bag. There we go. Back up. And let's ink this in black. Ink, ink, ink. Okay, I think that's good. I feel like I've lost, there we go. I lost a lid. Found it! All right, we ready? Down we go. Now I can open it up and say, oh yeah, I missed a whole spot right there, and close it back up and go again. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I might just take one more magnet and put it down. That looks pretty good. Now, I'm not going to use my smudgers. I'm not going to use these, but I still want to get ink down. What's the easiest way to do that? Well, we don't have markers for pigment-based ink. I don't have metallic pigment markers. I haven't seen them. I don't know where to get them. So I thought the easiest way to do that would be to use some of Ozzie Andrews' empty. These are empty alcohol markers. There's nothing in them. There's no fluid in them at all. Yet it gives you that beautiful nib. You get a brush tip and you get a bullet tip. And I thought, okay, these are $1.99. No, are they $1.99? $1.50? I don't know what they are. Maybe they're $1.50. I think they're $1.50. I'll just make my own marker to where I can just go in and dip my pen and then come in and color. Okay, if I don't have markers, I'll make my marker. We did this with other inks. We used his markers because not all companies make a marker to coordinate, but sometimes you want to color with it and you need that nib. And I can just come in and color. And the nib doesn't go yucky. I put O for orange. You don't want to use this with dye-based inks and pigment-based inks. You want a marker for dye-based inks. You can use your orange marker for your Memento and your Lawn Fawn and your Hero Arts. But you want to keep your pigment-based markers different. Keep them separate. And for very little money, it extends the life of your different inks because now you get a different way to use them. So I've got some orange going on. Oops, and maybe I want some bronze going on. Let's do a little more orange, a few more pieces of orange, a few more petals. And just color it on in. And I've got some that I've got a little more orange, some that I've got a little less orange. I know it says yellow, but I don't think that this is yellow. I'm just going to get a base of orange down. And I'm dipping and going. And dipping. And going. But a totally different way to use your markers. Okay, so now I've got some with a little bit of bronze, some with just orange. So let's take and put a little bit of bronze. And I've got B for bronze because they don't come in black or in the Izinks don't come in black or in brown. So I did B for bronze. And I might even take a little bit of red. R for red. I didn't have enough little rubber bands to rubber band around them. I'll have to go back to the store and get a few little rubber bands. Little girls' hair rubber bands in all the assorted colors. And maybe I just add a little bit of red here and there. So now I'm adding a little bit of red, and I've got a little bit of bronze and a little bit of orange. And I just build my color because you can. O for orange. O for orange. I want a little more orange back in there. I add a little more orange back in there. A little bit of red. And I have taken my inks and I have made them more than what they were. I've given them the opportunity to become more than what they started out to be. And they've got that beautiful metallic finish to them, where alcohol ink markers do not. And I can just keep going. And it's got that glisten to it, that sheen to it. And you sit in front of the TV and you grab a few of your colors and you play. And you finish, and what's the worst that happens if you don't like it? It was white paper and your time. You played during your favorite show. Right now, Mr. SMS and I are watching Chicago Fire. We'd never watched it before, and we started at the beginning, and we're in season 3. So don't tell me, because I think there's season 9. There's 9 seasons. So we are watching Chicago Fire, and we watch a lot of National Geographic. I like documentaries. I'm a documentary girl. I like all kinds of documentaries. I watched one on books the other day and on art. Well, on somebody who was selling fake art. Ooh, that was a good documentary. And you do this while you're sitting there. Do this on the airplane because the inks are small to travel. The pens are small to travel. Pre-stamp some of your images. Grab a few inks, grab a few pens, and off you go. And because they're not alcohol markers, because the markers are empty, they're not going to leak. You got to be careful when you travel with your markers, because when that pressure from the airplane, it can cause markers to leak. So you almost have to take a cap off to make sure that they pressurize properly. Here, there's nothing in them. And look at just how, and I'm not being careful. I'm just going, and if I really, really, really wanted to, see how I've got that? So far I've been doing a petal at a time. But if you don't have the patience for that, you don't have to do that either. You literally can just sound effects required. You can start all the way kind of down here and do all the way around first. Come in and do all the way around. Kind of get that a little darker. And then start doing your a little bit lighter as you go up. At some point you'll have to finish the petals out as a petal because they all go up to a little point. But this is quick and easy coloring. His little empty markers. So I'm the one who wanted them desperately, and he didn't understand why I wanted them desperately. And you know, when I look at inks, I always want the manufacturer to make a marker, but most often they can't. It's an expensive process to do, and the markers generally don't sell as well as the ink pads or the re-inkers. So it's like, how can we make a marker work? But then I want it with a brush tip, because brush tips are important. It lets you get in there and paint and color. So when he came out with his alcohol ink markers for $1.99, I said, can we get those empty? And he's like, but why? I've said, trust me, I want them empty. It lets me take any ink that I have, any ink pad that I have, and instantly make it a marker. And that makes my heart happy. When I can get more use out of something I own, that makes my heart happy. So here I didn't like go marker petal by petal. I just kind of went. And before you know it, you're colored. Yes, I have to do the center, but my sunflower is there, and it's got this sheen to it that's just lovely. I love my sheen. I know I need to do my center, I know. I suppose I could smudge my center a little bit. It's got a lot of red on it. And then maybe a little bronzy in the center. I don't know, you got options. Oodles and oodles and oodles of options. But that was easy. That was easy and fast. So it's up to you. Do you want to smudge with finger daubers? Do you want to go in and actually color with inexpensive, replaceable, empty alcohol ink markers? You want to do it all? You want to do them both? Do you just want to stamp and make pretty things just by stamping? Ooh, can you see the gold coming through on that? You want to stamp and die cut? Count your blessings. The whole idea is you have options. Oodles and oodles of options, because we've given you the stamp, we've given you the die, and we've made them interchangeable so that you can mix and match and make something beautiful. That's just beautiful. You want to use it with the embossing powders? So instead of it being burgundy, we changed it to that teal. Plenty to be done, but it's all up to you. All about how you want your creativity to look. But knowing that you can do from just simple stamping. Maybe you start here, simple one color stamping, and then you go here, and then maybe you try that, and then maybe you give yourself permission to try this. I didn't change my inks. I've been using the same inks all day long. It didn't take me, I didn't have to go, okay, now I'm gonna use dye ink, and now I'm gonna use pigment ink, and now I'm gonna use alcohol ink. I used the same ink, giving you different ways to utilize a pigment-based ink, especially a metallic. I want to finish this. I will not, but it's driving me crazy that there are leaves that are yet to be colored. I want to finish this, but I will not. So, we did a ton today, a ton. Like I said, we learned 4 different ways of using pigment-based inks, especially with the metallics. The metallics are so pretty. They're inexpensive, so that hopefully they fit into most people's budgets. There are 11 colors. I don't know if you need all 11 colors. There's a pink and a red. There's a light green and a green. There's the silver, the gold, the bronze, the purple. You may already have gold and silver and bronze and metallic inks. Do you need another one? I probably not. Maybe you just pick up some of the open stock. But for $3.20, $3.20 less 20%, that's a heck of a bargain for sure. Have I got them all now? 8, 9, 10, 11. There we go. There's all of them. 8, 9, 10, 11. So we played with that today. Ozzie Andrews empty pens. Do I have one that, oh here, one's that's still completely non-used. Comes completely dry, nothing in it, nothing. You decide what to put in it. You decide. Do you want to use re-inkers? Do you, I don't know about filling them. I would have to be sure not that they don't leak. But your ink pads, any ink pads that you have that does not have matching markers, now you do. Now you do. And it just takes it to a whole new place. What else did we learn about? So we learned about embossing powder and pigment ink and how you can take any old piece of paper. This was that dark green piece of paper. Any old piece of paper and change it into something new. This one says count your blessings. So we took dark green paper, inked it up with some pigment ink, threw our embossing powder down, and went for it. I have to do a little more down there. I didn't quite get enough. So I would just add a little more ink, throw more embossing powder down, and away we go. We played with the Simply Defined dies and stamps. Well, I'll show you those. Okay, so what's on sale? That's good. We'll put the stamp positioner on sale, and we'll put the additional magnets. You get 2. But we'll put the additional magnets on sale because some people like to have more. Will the magnets work with other stamp positioners? Yes, absolutely. This one is done by magnets. You push down, you line it up. Works pretty much just like everybody else's. And it lets you stamp again and again or fix your oopsies. Really easy to work with. Yay. I could even ink this up again. I'm not going to, but I could. I could even ink this up again with maybe a Versamark. No, because this is gonna, I need that to dry. But I could ink this up again with my Hero Hues India ink. Come back over the top after I'm done completely coloring, stamp down again, and darken everything up. Do you think I moved it? Okay, I said I wasn't, but I am. I'll just do the one. I may get a double because I might have moved it, but all we can do is try. So I'm going to try and take and stamp over the top of this again to darken up some of the lines. It's only paper. Okay, ready? Oh yeah, baby. Hello. Now I've darkened up the lines even more after I colored on top. That's the beauty of a stamp positioner. Now I've got all of that detail back. I've got my coloring done. Wow. Okay, love that. That's a happy day. All done with a stamp positioner. So, stamp positioner, inks, empty alcohol markers. Oh, the Izink. Okay, this sells for $19.99. I think Izink has it right now for $15.99. There's 10 colors, 6 sheets each, 60 colors. It's the only paper besides white that I used today. We're gonna do it for $15.99 to match Izink.com, but then we're giving you that beautiful color embossing powder, which retails for $4.99. So you're gonna get all of it for $15.99. Okay, yay. So that's from Izink. And then let me show you the storyboards, and then we'll do samples. So, I've been working with the stamps all day today. So you can just get the stamps all by themselves. Stamps are sold separately. You can do them just by themselves. And here's the sunflower, and here are the pumpkins. So Welcome Fall is separate, as is the little pumpkin. You don't have to stamp it with the Welcome Fall, or you could use the Welcome Fall on something else. Fall in Love is separate. You can use it on its own or with the stamp. So we've got the stamps sold individually. You choose whatever makes your heart happy. And I want to say they're $8.99. And they are a full A2 size. But then we have the dies. The dies and the stamps are sold as a unit. So they're $19.99 normally. If you do the I Want It All, there's only 4 sets, then it's $59.99. It brings them down to, I think, $15.99. So you'll get the stamp, you'll get the die, and then the 2 together. So you can use the stamp all by itself, or the die all by itself, the stamp all by itself, or the 2 of them together. And then I have the sunflower. So the stamp, the die, the extras that come with the die, and then the 2 of them together. So you can't buy the dies without the stamps, but you can buy the stamps without the dies. And then we have the pumpkin. So we've got our pumpkin. We've got Count Your Blessings, which can be used for anything. Oh my gosh. And then we have them together. And again, these are meant to be interchanged. The leaf can go this direction or that direction. So here we have the leaf, which could also go this way. We have the thankful, and then we have the 2. And then Elena did somewhere you could see here she's done beautiful, but she's used it with other stamps. So the beautiful comes with the sunflower, but it looks great with the pumpkins. It looks great with the leaves. It looks great with the background. And here's thankful. And look at how beautiful that is. So the idea is that you're able to take and mix and match. Count Your Blessings. Again, these are not the sets that they originally come with, the Count Your Blessings. This isn't the set that it originally comes with. I think it comes with the pumpkins. But you can interchange. And here. So here's the leaves in a vertical. Here's the sunflower in a vertical. Here's the pumpkin in a vertical. All interchangeable. All right, let's do samples. So let's start with Belinda. Look at how pretty is that, right? Yay, Belinda. And then she kept it super easy. Count Your Blessings. It's just easy and simple. No coloring, paper only, but it makes such a beautiful card. And here she's done beautiful. Just easy and simple. But then she decided to add some color. Hello, Belinda. And then we have Just Because. And isn't that pretty? Yes, you can use those metallics on black. And then the one I love the most, her Ode to Halloween. Grateful, thankful, blessed, but in a Halloween plaid. Look at how simple this card is. She just die cut it twice, offset. It's a great card on black paper. Paper only, no coloring. But then peas and pod. Then we have her coloring on the pumpkins. And the last one she did is Give Thanks in All Things. And just look at that. How simple is that? It's just the die on a black card. It says everything you need to say, and it says it all year round. It's not just for fall. We should give thanks in all things all the time. Okay, then let's do Doris. And here we have Doris, and she has colored in her background, her leaves. Oh, am I supposed to open it? No, good, okay. And here we have Doris, and she used the Fall in Love. She's got the pumpkins going on. A little bit of a crystal glossy accents over the top. And here we have Beautiful. So here's the background. And she embossed it, and then she colored in the openings, and you've got the Beautiful, which doesn't even go with this one. This one has which die did I do with this one? Not that one, not that one, not that one. Stacy. Gosh, I don't even remember now. It's got to be here somewhere. Oh, that's going to drive me crazy. Nope. 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 Okay, well, we've lost that set. It was here. Oh, could it be any close? Okay, it was right in my face. So this one, this is the set. This is the stamp that did this. Oh my gosh, Stacy. And the die that actually comes with it is Give Thanks in All Things. Oh my gosh. But it's beautiful. I can't believe I did that. Okay, we're just gonna go with it. Good thing my glasses are on my face. Here she fussy cut out the sunflowers, and you've got Fall is proof that change is beautiful. And her pumpkins. Don't those look great? And her Count Your Blessings. Again, with that beautifully simple background. She used the little pumpkin. Look at beautifully simple background. And again, this isn't the die, the Count Your Blessings isn't the die that goes with that stamp set, but it looks great. So that's Doris. Oh. And now Elena. Now Elena did Count Your Blessings, and she did it in a Christmas motif. Got a little glitter going on, and she just, again, she cut the die twice and offset to give a shadow effect. You've got Grateful, Thankful, Blessed. You've got Count Your Blessings with a nod to Halloween. You've got Beautiful. And can you see she went back in and layered back in the openings in the words. And here, look at, see, it doesn't have to be fall at all. Grateful, thankful, blessed. Give thanks in all things. Again, a nod to Christmas. And here we have Beautiful, just on its own with a piece of acetate behind it that has words. Joy, dream, laughter, fun, love. Beautiful. And then Give thanks in all things. Look at how pretty is that. Wow, that's gorgeous. And then we have Claire. And here Claire's done the background. with the leaves. Give thanks in all things, with some pumpkin paper and some plaid behind in fall colors. Here Claire has colored. She liked this plaid paper. She must have had a couple sheets of it. And she wanted her cards to have a continuity. Fall is proof that change is beautiful. Count your blessings, done in a mirror. She's colored in the background. That's the stamp. Count your blessings with kind of a watercolory splotch. Looks beautiful. Kind of all the colors just lay there and blend into each other with the count your blessings. Here she's just done the leaves, and she used the fall from Happy Fall to do her sentiment. Her sunflowers. And her grateful, thankful, blessed. And here she's repaper pieced back in. And then Elena did a layout for you where she cut out the pumpkins. You've got beautiful coming across. She did the sunflowers, colored them, and then fussy cut them out. And you've just got this really great layout from Elena. All right, you guys, that was a lot. But pigment inks have a use, and they are one of the most underutilized inks I think there are. Let me go back. I think that pigment inks are very underutilized because you forget all the things that you can do with them. We automatically reach for our dye-based inks because they're handy and they're easy, and you stamp and you're ready to go. But gosh, I think you're really giving up. I think you're really giving up an opportunity to play and do things that maybe you forgot you could do. And you may already have pigment inks in your stash. If you do, pull them out and use them. And if anything, get a couple of the empty blender or the empty pens, the alcohol ink pens, and take those inks into something more than what they were. When do you get to spend under $2 and you double something by taking it out of just a pad? That makes it a little difficult to really get in color with. Don't know where my little sunflower is, but a little difficult to here. Be a little difficult to color this without some kind of a marker, but it's easy peasy. You're taking a pad and you're doubling its use when you have one of these. So, where are you going to get all this great product? Pigment inks you can find at your local independent retailer. Absolutely you can. You may already have them in your stash. We're going to do an I Want It All for you, but we're also going to do them open stock just in case you need one or two colors. But at first, go look at your independent retailer and see what kind of pigment inks they have. Introduce yourself to a local mom and pop if you're lucky enough to still have one. Absolutely. The empty markers, well, that's kind of going to be here. They're hard to find. We have a really great relationship with Ozzy Andrew and Couture Creations, and I'm not sure where else he has the empty pens. You might be able to find something similar, but do make sure that they have at least that beautiful brush tip. That's really, really important. The Izink paper, you can find it at Izink.com for $15.99, or you can find it here at Scrapbooking Made Simple for $15.99, plus a free coordinating embossing powder. And then the Simply Defined, that's our brand, so you're only going to find it here. And our brand is limited. When it sells out, and we do not reorder. This time you have the opportunity to just get the stamps if you just want the stamps, or you can get the dies and stamps together. The dies are not being sold on their own. It's a set, or it's just the stamps. Okay, you guys, it's me, Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. I will see you all next Wednesday for the sneak peek of, gosh, I'm not even sure what's next Wednesday's sneak peek, and then I'll be back to tape the YouTube class for next week on Thursday or Friday. It's Friday morning right now. So, all right, you guys, I need to get this loading. I'll see you then. It was good to see you all. Thank you for hanging with me. And again, I'm Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.